it's kind of funny in a way, how others, or how we can like learn about ourselves, or really just acknowledge some things about ourselves, or how we feel, or may react, through being like just basically feeling our, like literally like a physical feeling in our stomachs or hearts, or any other body part, and I think that as far as being aware of self, that I think that can be a very, and maybe arguably one of the most useful and objectives to discover. Like, it's like if I know myself, it's not like an elusive thing. Like I if something happened to me, I can acknowledge how I feel about it instead of being more reactionary. And I think of course, the more I know about myself, and have healed from some things, I think I could be, or I know I could be more genuinely authentic. Because if I'm still acting in like a reactionary, mindset, I guess, or a reactionary, like from that stance, is that even really me? Because some of these reactions may be just something that I've, like a coping mechanism, or something that I've developed over time. And one can say, "Oh, that is you. That's authentically you." It's like, well, is it really? Was it really who I was supposed to be? And I'll give you an example. How I, like, something that happened just a little bit ago as I was leaving work. That I saw a guy looking on his computer about, like, it's the weather. It's probably supposed to hail or storm here, and you just heard me say hell. It's like, I was like, oh yeah, how big is the hell supposed to be? And they made like a remark or something. Like, I think he said hell or hell, and I'm like, I mean, this, and give you some context. This guy's from the north. I was born down here in Texas, and there's different ways of pronunciation. Like, people say pecan and pecan. Like, if someone said pecan pie, I know what they're talking about. But my family, and how a lot of us people in the South talk or say it, is pecan. It's pecan pie. It's like, some people say pop or soda, or Coke. They call, like, every soft drink Coke, or pop, there's different ways. And it's like, if you go to different countries, they're like, different regions of the country even speak a totally different language than others. And it's like, we're over here, gotta be, now I'm like kind of digressing. I sound like I'm venting, it's like, we're over here, not to poke fun at the English, but it's like, we're over here trying to be proper, English speakers, gotta pronounce things. It's like, that's how people talk. You know, whether you want to say it's proper or not. So you go to another country and be like, oh, that's not proper how they speak. Why aren't all of them talking the exact same? You know, anyways, I mean, call it generational or lack of education or whatever. I mean, it's all, we know he obviously knew what I was talking about, right? But the point is like, I was like, oh, this guy, I didn't say anything. I sat there and thought about it as I was pouring some water, out of the little dispenser into my canister, and something kind of like started churning up in my stomach. I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh, is this guy like joking, or is he like trying to poke fun of, like, because I get he's just started like a week ago, and all he's talking about is like, well, I say all he's talking about, but I've tried to ask questions. He moved down here for like 5 years ago from the north, and just trying to make friends and converse, get to know, how'd you like it up there, what'd you miss, that kind of stuff, and been very ecstatic about talking where he's from, and so it's like, okay, like, I mean, so I didn't know if he was like trying to, anyways, so I didn't say nothing. I was like, kind of just sat there. I was like, well, hell, I guess, because, and it's like, and my point is it made me feel like kind of like uncomfortable. Is this guy making fun of me? Is he trying to joke with me or something? And I just sitting there, and like, as I was leaving, I just kind of acknowledged that, and I was like, well, I got, I wouldn't say I was like the main victim in school or anything like that, but kids get picked on and stuff. I've gotten picked on a little bit when I was a kid, and so I was, I guess maybe that came up, kind of going back to like learning or being aware of this, like, these feelings and about myself, and it kind of like, I sat there and acknowledged it. I was like, I mean, if he was, I mean, that shows, what kind of person he is. Not about me. I've been trying to be friendly and cordial, and I'm not saying he was. So even if he wasn't, it's something I can acknowledge, like, oh, that's something I still have to work on. That why would I feel that way? Like, maybe I can sit with myself and be like, I'm okay. I'm okay. But yeah, it just so small of thing like that, such a small thing, or interaction like that could have, like, an effect on us. And I think one of the good things about just being aware of self is acknowledging right there, like that example, acknowledging it and sitting with it, and then recomforting self, and that's just one small example. I mean, people get into some pretty sticky situations. Can't really think of any one off of the top of my head, but they say, there's people that say, researchers, I think doctors, that we store, and there's even a book, I think it's like The Body Keeps a Score, it's about like how we like store these, like how our body recognizes or stores these, like, traumas, and it's like that energy is bound up inside our nervous system. Our nervous system, like, I'm not a biologist or neurologist or whatever. How our nerves work with electric signals and other like chemicals, like inside of us, like hormones. But if there's electrical signals You know, it's like that's energy. That is, and I mean, there's even energy like, you know, cells, you know, moving and atoms moving. That's energy. Like, so we are energy. So when people are like, you know, good vibes only, you know, or whatever, like, and people are like, oh, it's vibe, you know, it's a vibe, and it's kind of takes the, to me, it kind of takes the like, I don't know, it just seems like that's an outplayed like word, or like it's not really used in the like, I don't know, it just seems like it's like kind of just a word thrown around whenever that can really be like, you know, not trying to get like religious or spiritual or anything like that, but that like the being aware of that energy, like a vibration is a vibration of something. That's the frequency of, like, if you look at waves, you know, there's different like troughs and peaks, you know, and the distance between those, you know, you got a smoother one or a really choppy one, you know. Those are vibrations, frequencies. That's real stuff. So whenever you're like, oh, it's a vibe, and it's kind of like, it's like slang to me, like, you know, I mean, words change, but that is real. That's real life stuff. Like, you know, because there's also like a documentary I thought was pretty neat. I think it was like a documentary on, you know, one of the streaming platforms. It was called Light. I think it was called Light, just Light, if I'm not mistaken. But comment if you would like for me to double check on that, and I will. I'll try to add it in the description, because it's a really interesting documentary, and what it is it's about, they talk about the different kinds of waves, you know, like gamma rays, X-rays, microwaves, ultraviolet rays, I say waves or rays, but yeah, like, I guess I don't know the whole thing. Maybe I need to kind of brush up on some of this stuff, but the different types of waves, or you know, and I think it's micro rays, but we call it, I think that's, but either way, the point is there's different frequencies that, and light, like when we see like color and light and stuff like that, it's just like a small segment of the wavelengths, or wavelength. There's like X-rays and gamma rays, and I don't remember the exact, you know, how they laid it out, but imagine like a scale, or like a linear, like a line, and on one side, you know, like as the waves get slower, or, you know, say they start slow, again, I don't remember, say they start slow, you got like UV rays and gamma rays, and then it becomes light, or visible light, and then there's like microwaves and ultraviolet rays and X-rays or whatever, right? And we're like in the middle, kind of, and we, like, as far as when I say we, the light, what we can see, and so they're like, yeah, we're like universally blind, because we only see parts of this stuff, and then everything else, all these rays, like imagine like the Wi-Fi, that the wave, the like X-rays, or, you know, they're not X-rays, but you get what I'm saying. Like, we don't even know, like, you don't see electricity, or you don't see like microwaves when you know, you're warming up your oatmeal in the morning or whatever, right? Like, you don't see that stuff, but it's there, it's working. Like X-rays, like we stand in front of an x-ray machine, and somehow it could see through us, like it scans us or scans, I don't know exactly know how it works, but we don't see anything. And how does it see through us, essentially? Or bounce those rays off of our bones and then like back to the camera. You get what I'm saying? Like there's stuff that is going on all around us right now that we don't even see, but it's there. And that's that vibe. Is I'm vibing, like that's real. Like, and so I guess what I'm kind of going off on about is like there's some people that like, and I don't know this guy personally. I just work with him. He's just been here since this week, but I guess what I'm saying is like over time. And have you ever walked into a room? Let me go back. Have you ever walked into a room and then you just know something's off? Like there's just like something very unsettling, or maybe you're like everything's okay, and like say you're in a waiting room at a doctor's office or someplace, who knows? You're a gas station, whatever, I don't know. You're somewhere, and then all of a sudden, like some person comes in, and then like almost immediately you're like just something shifted, and you're like, all right, this is weird. There's something about that person that I don't know, but I just don't feel good about this person. What is that? That's that vibe, that frequency. Your body, your body is picking up on this energy. It's so weird how that is. In my experience, like I can't ignore that. That's intuition. That is like, that's being connected with myself and knowing, because a lot of like, I remember one time when I was younger, I had this weird feeling in my stomach. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. And I don't want to go into detail about the whole incident, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. And then I ended up getting in trouble. And maybe that was because, I didn't know exactly what I was gonna, like, basically I was gonna get on my motorcycle and rip it around town and all that stuff, and I ended up getting pulled over and getting in trouble. Maybe I kind of knew that, like, yeah, I'm gonna go fast on my bike. But anyways, maybe that wasn't the best example, but it's like, we know, our body knows, it's telling us, we just got to listen. That's being connected with ourselves. And so, the more I listen to myself and I can trust myself, or the more I listen and maybe do what it may be suggesting, and then it comes out like, oh, that was a good choice, then I could trust myself more, and then like I get more comfortable with like, hey, my body's telling me no, I need to say no. And it's probably more times than wrong that you're probably going to make the best decision for yourself, because you're telling your body's telling you. There's sometimes that we may need to think, maybe we might need to take our little risk and like go against certain things, and like maybe you're operating out of fear, like, oh, I'm scared this is going to happen. And well, if you don't take any risks, then you may not get any reward. So like, yeah, I'm not saying just totally always listen to yourself, but I am saying, definitely consider what your body is telling you. And I guess I'll kind of get off here. Need to try to get home, probably find a restroom to stop at before, because I always drink the last bit of my coffee before I head out. Probably need to change that little habit, just so I'm good and can get home and kind of do whatever I need to do or want to do, and be ready when I get home, feed my dog and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely something to consider, is definitely listen, whenever we're put in these tough situations, or very uncomfortable situations with family members or romantic partner, your wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever, you know, co-worker in this case, you know, definitely sit and ask yourself, what is coming up here? You know, is this trying to show me something? Instead of like, because my brain wanted it to be like, oh, this person's from the north, you know, they don't know how we talk down here. He seems like all he's been talking about is how you know, it seems like he knows everything, you know, kind of deal, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, part of me, and I'm like, you know, I had to tell myself, I had to kind of like talk myself down, like not out loud, but in my head, I'm like, man, just chill out, you know, just sit calm and just, you know, maybe he didn't mean nothing by it. Maybe, you know, maybe there's something in me that's like taking it personal and twisting it, you know. So it's very, very, I'd say important, but very, it's a good habit to be open-minded and to try to feel and think before really, you know, doing something, or thinking or putting judgment on something. And obviously it's easier said than done sometimes, but before putting judgment on something, to just watch it, you know, be mindful of it, be aware of it, and just observe. Anyways, I hope y'all had a good day. Work was kind of picking up for me. I just started this new job about a month ago. I think my hire date was the 23rd. But yeah, traffic here, you can probably see all the cars going, like, or not going. It's supposed to hell, you know, see, that's why when you talk fast, it's like, you don't even, you know, I'm gonna, you know, I was thinking of Vietnamese whenever he said something like that. I was like, man, I know, like, there's other languages that are way more tonal than English, you know, like you can spell like, I don't even know, like, so I'm trying to learn Vietnamese actually, but you could spell something the same, and the way the little lines above like the O's or the I's and stuff like that is like tonal, how you would say stuff. I'm like, I'm pronouncing it, and they're like, no, like, I mean, whenever I talk to a couple Vietnamese people from work, or my girlfriend, I would like, they're like, no, that's not how you say it. And like, so I know, like, but here it's like, people know, you know, like, I've never had anyone, you know, I used to have a friend joke with me when I'd say, get a hold of you. I would say halt, get a halt, like halt, like stop, you know, not like get a hold, like hold you. But anyways, never had anybody, but point is it's picking up, and hopefully get really going here in the next couple months. But anyways, I hope y'all had a good day. Like I said, if you are interested in that documentary, I think it's called Light, but just comment if you'd like to check it out. I'll double check it. I forget, I don't know the director or whomever, but I'm pretty sure it's called Light. Anyways, so I hope y'all have a good day, good night, wherever y'all are. Talk to you next time.